Hey guys, welcome back to the WODdoc Project365, episode 179. So, took my first yoga class I have in a real long time, and even to tell you the truth, my first very traditional yoga class. Prior to that, it's been hot yoga, Bikram yoga, different types of or forms of yoga. Today was just really the first time I just got to focus on traditional yoga, and there were some great take-home messages from it. And my biggest thing, the thing I was thinking about, the whole time during that hour, was really just exploring my body in general. Sometimes we get caught up in everyday life. I work a lot. I'm sure a bunch of you out there also work a lot, and the things that I work on and things I mobilize are very specific to the movements that I do. And sometimes taking a yoga class, it just opens your eyes to the things that you kind of forgot about. So I'm really thankful for being able to do that. And one of the things that I took home from it was a very, very simple mobilization to your hip. And it wasn't that I haven't done anything like that before. It's that I haven't noticed such a difference between like my left side and my right side in this specific case. And that's what I really loved about taking yoga today. Is it wasn't necessarily that all the movements I did were bad. It was noticing the difference between one side versus the other side, or the front versus the back, or the top versus the bottom, right? It was noticing asymmetries in your body that you're like, wow, those are things that I can work on to better my function, to optimize my function, right? So anyway, on to the hip mobility stuff. I'm sure you guys have seen plenty of drills where we call them supine crossover drills, where they're kind of like, we bring one leg up and we turn it over, right? Like with our hips, we put our legs together and we use these like twisting core drills, right? Well, if you're able to, and you can get a CrossFit style type of yoga mobility, right, is what we're gonna do, the way that they showed this in the yoga class was with a strap, right? And they had you kind of hold like this, and very simple hamstring stretch, and you're just using the strap to kind of like guide yourself and help yourself out here as far as keeping the tension on the hamstring. And what I did when I came home to the gym today is I was able just to kind of like mess with this. Instead of using a strap, I used a mobility band, right? And instead of holding on with my hands, I put it through my arms above my torso here, right? So, of course, we wrap the leg so that the band doesn't hit us in the face, right? But the cool thing I liked about this, about kind of bringing it up nice and high, right underneath your armpits, is I was able to kind of like push away on my leg, and I was able to relax my torso a little bit more. If I'm pulling onto it, my torso is very taut, right? Very, very under a lot of tension. If I'm able to stay right here, it kind of just hangs out there. And all I'm trying to do is straighten my leg here. And once I do that, as you can see, when I start here, my leg is kind of like at that athletic bend, I like to call it, not totally locked out. I'm just going to relax my body, and I'm just going to try to straighten, contract my quad, and straighten my leg. And right there, my hamstring is already pretty darn taut, pretty on fire. What I want to do now is I want to take it through a rotation movement, right? In the transverse plane here. So I'm going to try to keep my leg in the same position, and I'm going to use the band to help me out here, right? So that keeps my leg getting pulled up in that direction. And then all I'm going to do is very slowly come on to the other side. Now, I am working on keeping my torso flat to the ground, right? So I'm getting that rotational aspect in the low back, and I'm also stretching out the bottom of the hip. So all I'm going to do is very slowly come onto each side. It's a controlled movement. You can hold it there and really try to squeeze the quad on each side for a couple seconds if you want. But for me, I got the most benefit out of just keeping a slowed control motion each way, right? About 3 to 5 seconds in each direction would be great, okay? And then, of course, you're going to do both sides. The goal for today, guys, is to be able to do 15 on each side, right? So 15 touches on each side, switch both legs. Test, retest would be great here, would be bending over, touching your toes, or going into a squat. Whichever way you could provoke a position like such, right? So if I bend over, I'm just trying to touch my toes. Feel the difference between left versus right. Guys, that's how today we are optimizing function to optimize performance. See you tomorrow.